Hey, how's it going guys? I'm Ryuz and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. This week, last week we actually got a huge card balancing update, but there is some errors in a few of them, so I will list them first before going to the normal ones. The first one is Kusa's form. It did not lose the fast keyword. It was never there. The new effect is instead you gain 2 health instead of just 1. So on activation and at the start of your turn you get 1 orb and 2 heal. That's actually pretty decent. I said it last time when they first updated her cards, heal 2 would be better than just heal 1. So I'm happy that they finally updated. And the other one that got a wrong text is Jimenju level 1 form. It now becomes level 2. The first line of effect stays the same, but it actually got another line of text. At the end of your turn, it now automatically moves to the combat zone, so you can definitely save up some orbs and using this instead of fully committing to moving Jimenju and putting this form on him. Yeah, they got 2 of them wrong, but the rest is fine. By net is standard, so let's take a look at the rest of them. So first up we have Shelter for Rain. They replaced the heal effect with gain shield for one of your Shigami, then gain a random card from deck. This might as well say draw one and you still wouldn't run it, because the ratio for Tenjokutari is pretty much fixed from start to finish. The good thing though, they finally added a fast keyword on Yokai Koya, but only after you evolve him. But hey, at least it's something, right? Hakuo Shoujo got her whole basic ability rework. Her evolve ability now becomes her basic ability. Thank you, Netties. That once per turn thing was really dumb. Her evolve also got changed. It loses the instant 10 charge, but her ability now says that if you want to use the burst ability of her cards, that card will gain fast. That is really good for her, but because we got 2 good ones, of course we got 1 bad one. Her level 1 form got nerfed. It loses the luck for definition 3. It's not much, but that on activation luck check was pretty nice. Garuda once again got nerfed. This time his range card got nerfed. It now only gains range if it was played from the hand. Yep, Garuda is dead now. NetEase buried him along with Ashura. Rest in peace, buddy. You had a good run. You really did had a good run. You were much better than Ashura. At least you didn't ruin people's lives. And right, Jimenji also got another buff to his form. Absorb Nutrient now gains permanent health at the start of your opponent's turn instead of at the end. Yeah, this is a good change. It's still gimmicky, but a good change. Kodokushi got both of his form buffed. Both of them now attaches erosion on activation. That's it. It's not much, but I'm sure it will help the Kodokushi fans somehow. And what's surprising is Ebisu got a buff. Lucky Bamboo now lets you level up any of your Shigami, including Ebisu. But I don't think Ebisu would want it because his only level 3 spell is the double level up spell and nobody really runs it. Now, I don't think anybody saw this coming, but Kidomaru got Shura Lock buff. It now has piercing. Oh yeah, this is going to hurt people. But the next one is my favorite buff. Puppeteer Evolve now does something extra. On activation, you get a random form from outside your deck. Then every time you fuse a card, she will deal a random 2 projectile to your opponent units. Her win condition stays, but the extra effect is really nice now. Tanuki Evolve also got buff. He can now stun a Shigami on activation. That's pretty much it. Really underwhelming. He really need much more help than that, just that. Baize's Nature of Time now deals 3 damage when you move it to the bottom. 3 damage is not bad honestly, and it's not obscenely powerful. It's balanced. And the last one is Koi's form. She gains extra effect, giving a sheltered Shigami plus 2 shield. That's a great buff, but at level 1 you won't get many chances to shelter, so it's pretty balanced. And that's about it. It's a huge change. The buffs are really exciting. I am especially excited to experiment with Puppeteer. But for now, let's get into the deck rundown, shall we? For this deck, I tried making Uminocho fit into a stun charge hybrid deck. And of course, if we are talking about stun build, you cannot play without Yuki. And he is a monster in this build because we can stun pretty consistently using Uminocho's passive. We also bring Bakekujira as our utility and extra power because he can give your Shigami extra projectile when attacking, and a free heal every time you attack, which is very important when we are facing against aggro. Uminocho is actually really important here because her passive will directly power up Yuki's SSR, and with her level 2 form you can easily snipe any back row Shikigami and still have enough health to tank your opponent's next attack. This deck may look simple, but it has some tricks that you need to get used to so that you can use it effectively. The only downside to this deck is that it doesn't have many draw power, so you have to time your cards effectively so you don't run out of hands too quick. And here's the card priority list. For the high priority, you definitely want either one of Bakekujira's Shell, because if you can power up your Shigami early on, the game will be much easier for you. Spying Eye is also a great first turn card because the more you can stun your opponent, the easier it will be for you to deal damage. And it is great against aggro because they have to waste cards just to put their attacker to block your attacks. Frost Dance and Frostwind is a great going second card because if the opponent leaves their combat zone empty, which most decks do on the first turn, you can deal 14 damage just by Yuki alone. And if you already level up Yuki Hime, you will deal 16 damage. And for Genie of Wave, it's not mandatory, but it will help you a lot when you level up to level 2. Because that's when most decks start to set up their play and you can use it to immediately snipe those pesky back row Shigami. As for the situational choice, we have Traceback as our instant revive card. I think this is better than Momo's revive because this instantly moves your Shigami to the combat zone without damaging them, and if you revive Yuki, you can leave one orb for his Snow Chaser trigger card. Skilled Imitation in this deck is really powerful because you can use it offensively or defensively. Offensively is when you stun an enemy attacker or blocker and then use Yuki to annihilate them. Then for defensive, you can use it to stop an opponent's Shigami just one turn before they can use their key card. An extra of one turn for this deck is huge. You cannot underestimate an extra one turn for this deck. And Uminocho Evolve is super good for Yuki because if it triggers the stun effect when the opponent attacks Yuki, he will become instantly immune to that damage. And her passive applies to anything that enters your combat zone. That includes the summons like Bakekujira's Mothering. And as for finisher, we actually have 3. Well, 4 if you have Uminocho's SSR. The first one is Yuki's SSR. Since we stun pretty often, this card can very easily reach big numbers. And if you set up your game right, by the time you have this card in hand, it will usually have 10 plus attack and the opponent's health is like lower than 15. So you can pretty easily finish them off. And as for Yuki Hime's field, this is actually pretty relevant when fighting against poison because the attack immunity will apply first, so any Shigami that attacks Sasori Onna will be safe and it also stuns anything they touch. Bakekujira's SSR is also a good card to push for extra damage, but most of the time you will only be able to use the burst 5 because you want to use the fast spell most of the time. But that is more than enough to finish off their opponent. And if you have Uminocho's SSR, this deck would be even more better. And that's about it for the deck rundowns. It's a fairly expensive deck, so I will not be recommending this deck for newbie, mainly because the Shikigami in this deck is from 4 different packs. But if you have the cards or the money that you want to invest, it's a really fun deck to try out. For now, let's move on with the replays. Well, to prove how resilient this deck is, the first match will be up against Poison deck. Fighting against Poison using this deck is tricky. On one hand you want to attack, but on the other you have to consider saving up your hands to deal with their back row. For our first level up, if you have Bakekujira's Shell, you want to level him up first, but if you don't, Uminocho is your second choice because you want to trigger her passive as often as possible. This time we have Spying Eye and Genie of Wave, so we level up Bakekujira instead and save Uminocho for later. On their turn, they will just put the draw form on Mushishi and pass. Level up Kainin and passing, that threw me off because I don't know what they are planning. We do not want to take any chances for now, so we will stun Kainin and use Kurikaramaru to deal 2 damage to her and the opponent. After that we attack with Uminocho and pass. On their turn they will level up Sasori to try and attack our Uminocho, but she will get debuffed, dealing no damage. This is why Uminocho passive works really well against poison. On our turn we finally have enough charge to use Teeth Shell. We put it on Uminocho. Then we use Frost Dance to clear the way, and finally assault with Uminocho dealing 4 damage and stunning them in the process. On their turn they will use a fast poison spell to poison our Yuki, then revive Sasori with Dark Remedy, while also sheltering their card and pass. The more you can stun the opponent, player, the better it is for us because poison deck doesn't really bring a lot of combat cards, so they will be stuck there. On our turn, I feel suspicious of their Sasori, so we use our last skill imitation on her. Then we use Kurikara Maru and slap them again with Uminocho and pass. It's going pretty smooth, isn't it? But that's usually when things will go in the wrong direction. On that turn, they will use Ninja Slaughter to take a peek at our hand, then use Mushishi Revive card to revive Kainin and deal random poison damage. Thankfully, it hit our Yuki, not anyone else. On our turn, we drew Frostwind one turn too late. Well, this time we are leveling up Uminocho. We put Body Shell on her, then put Genie of Wave on her. Yuki-hime passive is doing massive work, and we will hunt their Okikumishi because she is too passive and she is about to reach level 2. At the end phase, we get to stun them again with Yuki-hime and pass. On their turn, they will put Sasori level 2 form that moves her through combat zone, and they will poison our Uminocho with Kainin Evolve and pass. Uminocho getting poisoned is a big hit for us because she can't heal using the Body Shell anymore. On our turn, we first draw cards using Outline Sketch, then put this shell on Bakekujira just to trigger Yuki-hime passive. Then we hunt their Mushishi to shut down their draw engine and pass. On their turn, they will evolve Sasori and, as expected, use Kainin to attack because she has attack immunity when attacking Poison Shigemi, and they pass. On our turn, first, we attack their Kainin with Yuki, then put Body Shell on Bakekujira. We activate Frostwind to trigger Yuki-hime passive, clearing the way for the combat effect to stun them, while also dealing 4 damage. The Frostwind might be too excessive because Yuki-hime form also stuns. On their turn, they will use Okiku Poison Projectile on our Yuki, then kill him using the On Activation effect or Sasori's Field and pass. Now, here's the turn I made a pretty fatal misplay. I used Trace Back to revive Uminocho, that was a waste of revive card. Then I tried to snipe their Sasori with Moon Coral. But because Yuki-hime passive damaged the opponent, she got poisoned and that will power up Sasori's form. That made us fail to kill her, so we have no choice but to pass. On their turn, they will evolve and snipe our Yuki-hime with Mushishi. Then they put the SSR form on Sasori, hunting our Bakekujira and pass. On our turn, we need to find a way to put a blocker on the combat zone without touching their Sasori. Thankfully, we have our second copy of Genie of Wave, and we hunt their Mushishi. It didn't kill her, but we at least lowered her health. Thinking back, I should have killed their Okiku Mushi instead. On their turn, yeah, I should have killed their Okiku. That form is annoying as hell. And they did manage to kill our Uminocho, but it leaves their Sasori with only 1 health left. On our turn, we drew Snow Chaser, the perfect card to get rid of their Sasori. Then we use Frost Dance to get rid of their field and pass. Yuki is going to die next turn anyway, so might as well use anything that we have. At the start of their turn, of course, Okiku will poison Yuki. They use their last Mushishi Revive card. That random poison will kill our Yuki. Then they evolve Sasori one more time before attacking us and pass. On our turn, since they only have 2 cards in hand, they are for sure cannot deal huge damage. So I focus on evolving Bakekujira twice and pass. On that turn, they will evolve Kainin one more time, targeting our Bakekujira, then use Daydream to deal 2 damage to Yuki-hime and kill our Bakekujira. I am glad they took the bait. Then they use Sasori to attack again because they know we do not want to get poisoned. On our turn, we finally use Yuki-hime SSR. We did get damaged by the edge effect, but that's fine because we can use Uminocho to stun their Sasori and pass. On their turn, they actually had Kainin's SSR, then used Memory of Mushi to kill our Yukihime. That triggers Kainin form attacking our Uminocho. But that wasn't enough, so they for some reason used Okiku to kill our Uminocho instead. Well, that's going to be a very easy target for us. On our turn, we kill their Okiku with Yuki, then just put Yuki's SSR on him. Unless they kill him with poison, which I doubt they have because Okiku died and they already wasted Mushishi's poison, they will die once we get another turn. On that turn, they did attack with Sasori, then tried to get a card that they can use using Memory of Mushi, but they didn't get anything, so they will finally surrender. After that stressful first match, we are going pretty light on the second one. This time we are facing against pretty nostalgic deck with Enma and Kanko. Their basic strategy is to clear the combat zone with Kanko and Tamamo, then deal huge damage with Enma. It's going to be a bit tricky because our Shikami doesn't really have huge health, but I think this will be a much easier matchup than Poison. On their turn, they will immediately use Enma to assault and pass. As long as it doesn't kill our Uminocho, we are cool. On our turn, we are going to stun them with Frost Wind, then assault with Yuki dealing 7 damage, and with that we just shut down their whole gameplay because they literally do not have any other way to attack other than Tamamo level 2 combat card. On their turn, as we expected, they will pass. On our turn, we will stun their Enma with skill imitation, then damage her with Kurikaramaru. After that, we just assault with Uminocho and pass. We are using her because we have 2 of her revive cards, so even if she dies, we are going to be fine. On their turn, they will activate Bamboo Missile on Yuki, that will trigger Kanko's countdown, killing Uminocho. Then they use Soul Strike on our Yuki before going Blazing Snow, dealing 7 damage. That was actually a really good move. On our turn, I want to revive Uminocho, but I went with Evolving Bakegujira before killing their Enma with Skill Imitation and passing. On the turn, they put the 5 damage form on Kanko, activate another Bamboo Missile on our Yukihime, and they activate Izuna Pack that will kill our Yukihime and deal a huge 10 damage to us. I did not expect that. I am actually impressed they didn't break because every time I use that deck, I always break for some reason. I wanted to evolve her, but if I did, she will move back, so I will just put Genie of Wave instead and pass. On their turn, they activate Song of Truth just to get enough rally to kill us with Tamamo, but Uminocho passive said no and reduced Tamamo attack. Too bad, my man. Better luck next time. On our turn, we finally use Uminocho's Evolve on Yuki, then we have to hunt their Kanko because we cannot take any more of that 5 damage bomb. We got lucky and Uminocho is still alive, so unless they got that Enma projectile, we can survive this. On their turn, they will evolve Enma, and they actually got it and they sniped our Uminocho. And we have no choice but to eat another 5 damage and they will pass. On our turn, we activate Yukihime's SSR, then just assault with Yuki. And if Yuki dies, we can just revive him with our second trace back. On their turn, they put the shield form on Enma and they will assault again, killing our Yuki. But that leaves the ghost with only 2 health left. You get where I'm going with this, right? On our turn, we will revive Yuki with Trace Back, then activate December Snow that triggers Yukihime passive, clearing the way for a total of 11 damage straight to the face, with stun on the side. It's pretty much over for them, but they did put a form on Kanko and Tamamo before finally just surrendering. Well, that's all for today's video. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. Anyway, if you want to support my channel, I have Patreon and Ko-Fi links down below. And as usual, if you have any kind of feedback, leave it down in the comments and see you on the next video. Bye.